What's up, you guys? Today we are at the Shelby Hall Off-Road Shop doing something a little bit out of the norm. Our very dear friend Wayne Schmeckley just purchased some incredible memorabilia that we don't actually know exactly where it came from. From the detective work that we've done, we think that all of these items were Bill Stroppe's personal memorabilia. Think from his office, from his own personal storage, which was handed down to his son, Willie Stroppe, and then somehow got in the hands of maybe an auctioneer. We think that his storage unit was sold at auction, and then those items were sold at a flea market here in Huntington Beach. Thankfully, Wayne found out about these items, he purchased it, and so now we have called in the smart guys. We've got historians here, we have dear friends and colleagues of both Willie and of Bill, and they are helping us go through all of these artifacts and items to figure out what we should do with them and how we can display them to share this history with the rest of the world. Check this out. Everybody is hard at work going through everything right now, but as you can see, we have started categorizing all of these different photos. There are so many photos. We have big pictures, we have small pictures. I mean, look at this thing. Bill Stroppe building the race Jeep. And it's just all of these old four-wheeler magazines. There's so much history here. It's been a great day going through everything, but we have a lot of work ahead.
Looks like these are all late model. I would guess these were in the 90s, just part of the Stroppe Motorsports. So
there it is up here, right? So it went from Mercury.
like here, Todd, what year would that? I mean, that would have been in the shop. That would have been Signal Hill later on.
That was probably being Paramount. This was later. This was probably late 90s. I see a Ford Contour there and some Ford trucks. So yeah, that would be late 90s. Yeah. Yeah, that's
The transporters in the background there too. You see it there?
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's a Woody, a '60s Ford Woody wagon here. Yeah, the Contour was late '90s, and this Ranger.
Yeah, so this is that's Paramount,
right?
Yeah, that's I actually got a tour of that place. That's cool. And Stroppe used to have like a '96 extra cab F-150 that he was driving around with that Stroppe logo on the side. Yeah, it was cool. I have a shot of that somewhere.
Yeah, kind of a high performance boat. Looks like in the background there too.
All sorts of stuff.
All the work stuff, and then the toys in the background.
Yeah.
It's really small for a flare.
So we're just going through all the different piles of all the different photos. It's pretty amazing. My name is Wayne Schmeckley. I'm here in Huntington Beach at the Shelby Hall Off-Road Shop. We're out here today and a kind of a little special event. What we have going on is there is a bunch of Bill Stroppe memorabilia found in a storage unit. We were lucky enough to end up with that. And the backstory is I got a call from Ted Ryan from Ford, their historian. He had been contacted by Michael. Michael had told Ted, hey, I found this stuff, I'd like to find a home for it. So at the time, Ford didn't have it in their budget to be able to buy this memorabilia. Ford, through Ted Ryan, he put myself together with Michael, and then we were able to negotiate a deal. And why I thought it was so important that we ended up with all this memorabilia, it is basically, it's the roadmap, or it's the backstory to the Stroppe story.
Out of the five of us, Carl Jackson drove less than 100 miles destroyed the car. Single stock Ford shocks. Single. We had shocks.
Gotta be gentle.
We had duct tape shocks on the
my
roll
God.
bars. We had air cleaners and shocks all over the place. Carl Jackson, we see him parked at a cantina on the side of the road because he just destroyed the truck in the first 100 miles. And one Dodge finished, which was Roger Mears' father, and we were 6 hours ahead of them. We drove most of the race without our helmets on. We just said, let's just pre-run this thing and
Yeah.
finish.
Yeah.
We threw our helmets on the floor,
Yeah.
checkpoint, put our helmets back on.
Yeah.
My relationship to Stroppe was Willie Stroppe and I grew up, known each other since we were 10 years old, and started racing go-karts in the back of the shop on Signal Hill. I ended up working for Bill Stroppe, working a lot of race cars and doing special promotions. Out of the awesome group of people here, I'm the oldest historical person here. And I'm not the most knowledgeable. We have experts here that know a lot more than I do, but Bill and I work personally on cars, in trucks, at midnight, before races, working with cars for Steve McQueen, for Parnelli Jones, Bobby Unser, Al Unser, all the top drivers came to Bill Stroppe if they wanted to win. Because it was back in that day, we were the name to get your vehicles prepared. Shelby and her team are carrying on that legacy with Rodney Hall, who I raced with, Willie and I raced with. We were competitors and we were friends. Willie and I always got Rod's takeoff parts because we were paying for everything ourselves, so
You were the kids.
we got to get Rod's takeoffs. We're going through all this memorabilia and some great information from the mobile economy runs back in the 50s, the 60s, really a historical journey from stuff from Bill Stroppe's office, which I vividly remember. So it's been great.
I'm Todd Zerker, a longtime Bronco owner and enthusiast. My dad bought the Bronco that I drive today when I was 12 years old, so we've had it for many years and loved Bronco history, raced Broncos, became fascinated with Bill Stroppe many, many years ago. And so, what we're looking at today is just a gold mine, a treasure trove, something that gets a historian like me really excited about looking at a lot of old dusty photos and papers and trying to figure things out. And it adds so much to what we already know, but there's always so many new photos that you can find and you're like, oh wow, this is great. We've never seen this picture before. And ooh, I wonder who that is. So it's a lot of fun to take a look at this new gold mine of stuff that has come here now. One thing that was always fascinating to me is he was so well loved and respected in the motorsports community, and yet he seemed to be a very mild-mannered, kind, empathetic kind of a person. It seems like everybody loved him. The racing connection for me was big. I got into off-road racing when I was in late high school, and the Stroppe name was just synonymous with that, and so it was just a big deal to me. And I never got to meet Bill. He passed away before I was able to do much traveling related to Bronco events and things like that. But I did meet Willie many years ago, became friends with him, and really appreciated his friendship over the years. And he was a very gentle, kind gentleman too. When we first got into Broncos, I don't think he was quite as into him, but after a while, I think maybe in the last 8 or 10 years, he sort of became comfortable with his role as the elder statesman. And so he became comfortable with people. Hey, can I have your autograph? Tell me stories about this. Tell me. And I would say he became much more comfortable in his own skin the last few years as a Bronco celebrity. And
Wow.
so, yeah, I mean, years ago, I don't think he really cared for that much. But as Broncos became more popular and people wanted to learn more about the history, he's like, I am kind of a big deal. And he embraced that part of his heritage.
So there's this wonderful person named Wayne who has put his heart and soul into finding and restoring Stroppe Broncos, among other
other vehicles, not just Stroppes and not just off-road, but some really cool cars too. And it's really nice to be so close. I can go experience that and have a good time and see what things used to be like before I existed. And it's just kind of heartwarming to see somebody care so much about it.
You're totally right. Like being able to see all the restored Broncos the way they were,
Yes.
you know, it's like traveling back in time.
Yeah. And then when you look at the semi, like there's just so many cool small details in that collection that are just something you'll never get anywhere else. I started a Bronco club in Colorado called Mile High Bronco Club. We're just about coming up on almost 2 years, and it's just a place for anybody who has any type of Broncos, new, old, in between. You don't have to live in Colorado. If you come to Colorado to wheel or visit, you're welcome in the club, and we even let Jeeps in.
What do we want to do?
Oh, this is
What do we want
Bill's
to do with them?
passport. No way. That is
So Wayne, what do you think you want to go home with?
A lot of trips to Mexico.
One of those?
1962.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Man, that thing's in pristine
perfect. I was shaking the
condition.
bag around and I was like, dang, look at that. I think there's 2 or 3 in there.
Oh, man.
There's a couple.
Smallpox
Wow.
vaccination.
Oh, military.
This is his, yeah, his passport with
Familiar ones.
That is so
a couple
cool.
trips to Mexico.
I've got some old straw patches.
That's Bill and his wife, if you haven't seen Helen.
Yes.
What year did she
Like a
pass
brick.
away? 2010, maybe?
95.
No.
Oh, Bill
No,
was
Bill
Bill
was
was
Helen.
95.
Helen, yeah.
Helen. I
Yes.
remember Helen used to be at
It
Fabulous
moved.
Ford shows.
In the golf cart.
In the golf
Yeah,
cart.
we took a picture, Willie and
My name is Sandy Badgett, and I became acquainted with the Stroppe family right in junior high, actually. My mom, her best friend was our next door neighbor who was Bill Stroppe's office manager. And with that introduction came through them. So that's how we met. When I first started working there, I was about 14, and they would have me come up when the office staff wanted to go to lunch. They would go to lunch together on Fridays, and I would come in and answer the phone. Or they had a program where if you sent in your crisp dollar, you could get one of their parts catalogs. So that was another one of my jobs after school. I would come in and actually stuff parts catalogs and scurry next door and take all those dollar bills into the treasurer so she could put them in the bank. And then my dad was also working there. He was a manager of Pantera shop. So I would walk to the back to see my dad, and it was kind of strange. I guess most girls wouldn't think that was a really cool job, but when you have to stop your conversation because the dyno's raging so loud you can't hear each other think, let alone have a conversation, to me that was my normal life as a teenage girl. So it was always fun, and everybody there was very friendly, and Bill Stroppe was always welcoming. And I don't know, how he treated. I shouldn't say treated. He treated everyone well, but I'm sure he had his moments where he, got a little fired up. But he was nothing but a gentleman anytime I was around. Great family atmosphere to be in. When I was there, I'm sure they had moments, like I said, but it was just a great place to grow up, and having my family there. And then Willie and I became friends. His son Willie, we became close friends, and just kind of a very comfortable family feeling atmosphere in the shop.
We'd consider that a dog bed. Where's it at? Right there, but that was Carl's bed. It was so cool to find some of these original photos of Carl and some of his vehicles within this collection. It just shows how important, the memorabilia is.
Yep.
My name is Andrew Norton. I'm a Stroppe historian. I fell in love with Broncos when I was a teenager, and when I found out there was a limited production Bronco that was based in off-road racing, I had to know more, and so I started doing research on Stroppe Broncos and started compiling information, and now I spend each day living, breathing Stroppe Broncos. It's a better question would be, what are we doing here this week? Because I see so much information here that's been unearthed by Wayne and crew, and thank you guys for doing that because there's some real gems in there. But we're going through, it looks like, Bill and then Willie's family archive of memorabilia, trophies, photos, letters, guest books, and there's some real gems in there. But like I said, so much, it's gonna take a while to catalog it all.
Pit crews that we have along the course are very important people. They have to know the product and they have to be alert. Most all of our pit crew in Mexico are our fellows that love outdoor racing, and they go along as we can keep them fed, keep them bedded down. They will do their services for us just for the sport of the auto racing.
In short, I would call Bill Ford's West Coast right-hand man. Everything from rally racing, testing out new cars, economy runs for gas mileage, boat racing, which is actually how he got on Ford's radar in the beginning, was with him and Clay Smith racing boats here in Long Beach. But basically Ford entrusted him after that point to take care of everything, every Ford vehicle that Ford wanted to do a promotion for or wanted to race here on the West Coast. So stock car racing, they shipped 10 Mercury Comets to East Africa. They did some land speed testing with Mercuries in the 80s, and they of course did my favorite, the Bronco program, which started with 4 prototype Broncos that were sent to Bill to convert into race cars. Well, with Willie, sometimes the timeline sometimes was a little bit foggy, but we know that by '67 they had the trucks built. So I'm imagining that a shop like theirs probably made quick work of building the 4 trucks. So I'm thinking it was probably late '66. He said it was snowy. In 1975, when Stroppe was forced out of his business, Bill Stroppe and Associates, he started Bill Stroppe and Son with Willie. And one of the first people to come over with his new Dodge program was longtime Stroppe driver and friend of Bill Stroppe's, Rod Hall. That kind of got the ball rolling, and soon after, some of the employees and the other people came, but the flagship truck for Stroppe and Son was your grandpa's truck. So it was like it's kind of a big, like,
So cool.
a friendship move, and also he just knew that Bill Stroppe, Stroppe and Associates, or Lubin Associates is what it was called after it was taken over, was not really the Bill Stroppe was Bill Stroppe, and that's what made your truck last a race and win a race. He was just meticulous, and he kind of showed people how to build a team, not only of drivers, but of mechanics and everybody, actually. I've had people from Carroll Shelby's camp say that they were looking up to Bill Stroppe's cars in the 50s before they got hired on to Shelby, and they brought that with them. But I think that having one of the first super teams in off-road desert racing with Stroppe's efforts, that's probably the big thing, because now everybody who goes to Baja and everywhere, not everybody, but sadly most people, have a huge, car carrier full of a few cars and stuff like that. But I think he just taught that this being meticulous, setting up pits in strategic places, he brought all of that to the table for off-road motorsports. So I think the engine is what brought him back to everything. He and Clay Smith were friends in the high school, I believe, maybe even junior high, and on through Polytechnic School, and they played with engines. They were California hot rodders, and I think all the things that an engine can go into are what got them excited. So, and being here in Long Beach in the boat races, that's naturally where they were starting to play first. But I've also heard that he did some stuff out at the dry lakes with his first, I think the first hot rod he built, he took out to the dry lakes and raced. I think it was a 33 Ford. And then the other types of racing, yeah, he was just being here in SoCal and being surrounded by all the people here, like that built engines and everything like that. He was being asked to go in a lot of different directions with motorsports. But I think that off-road, I think his relationship with Parnelli Jones kind of kept Parnelli loved the dirt, and so when they got back together and began racing together, I think that's where he was most comfortable. Willie Stroppe was the heir to the Stroppe throne, and he was a great guy. He became my friend, but he continued the tradition of keeping Stroppe and Son going with Ford's relationship. They did media releases for cars, and I actually worked on a couple of those. Willie hired me on as a detailer and helper. Willie was a really fun guy with a fun sense of humor, but oftentimes was kind of quiet. But he followed the same kind of meticulous rules that his father and the business had before, and anything we did on those excursions to release the SVT Focus or the Thunderbird or the Bullet Mustang, he was very meticulous about what we did and how we acted and where we were. So it's almost going back to that. That's kind of what the neatness and doing an awesome job were kind of like the Stroppe thing, and Willie continued that. And then later, Willie was really interested in the history. That's why I'm so happy to see that Wayne and your camp has got these items in hand, because Willie was working at Lyons Automobilia Museum most recently and was part of the history there and part of putting together the cabinets of pieces like this so that people could see it and appreciate it all. And so he really cared about the legacy that his family had with Stroppe, the Stroppe name.
Well, you guys, it has been an incredible day here at the shop. We have been able to talk to all of our friends, our historians, the people who got to live and breathe off-road life with the Stroppe family. It's incredible to me how much history there is about my own family that I'm still learning. And these are the moments that mean so much to me, that I get to learn more about my grandpa and where he started and where he continued to go with his career. It just brings it home to me, and it really makes it feel like what we're doing here is, it's got a lot of heart and it comes from a deep place. So I just want to say thank you to Wayne. As always, you do not cut any corners. All of the detail that we are going through and will continue to go through with all of these memorabilia items will continue to tell this amazing historical story of off-road royalty, the Stroppe family. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this amazing Stroppe lesson. And I would also love to say thank you to all of our amazing friends that came and helped us out today. Of course, we have our amazing historians, Andrew and Todd. We have our friends of the family. We have Joel and Sandy. It has been just an incredible day today. Thank you, everyone.